It's been a week since the Asian Championships, and so today I'm going to sit down and re-watch some of the highlights from all of the sessions that I was able to commentate at over the last couple of weeks in Bahrain. This is the women's 59 kilo category, and this was exciting because we saw Long Zhui from China, who we really didn't know of in terms of her international experience, though we knew she had some huge national records in the clean and jerk, competing against a few other athletes who we knew would do well. Here's one of them from Vietnam. This is Quang Thi Tam, who actually ended up taking the lead in the snatch, which was perhaps unexpected. She made 93 kilos on her opening attempt before missing 96 kilos 2 times. But even so, she still had a lead over Long Zhui from China and also over Engtemir, who we can see on our screen here from Mongolia, who managed 92 kilos for the silver. Engtemir then opened up at 106 kilos, which was a personal record for her, but that was all she was going to be able to make. She wasn't particularly strong in clean and jerk. And so the battle really lied between Quang Thi Tam from Vietnam and Zhui Long from China. We knew that Long had the bigger clean and jerk, and so Quang would need to hit basically as much as was possible, ideally go 3 for 3 in the clean and jerk. She did make that 110 kilo opener, and she did then go up to 115 kilos. But before her third attempt, we saw this, 116 kilos by Natasha from Indonesia, which actually moved her up into the bronze medal position. As you can see, she was extremely excited. Unfortunately, Quang wasn't able to make 119, which meant that Long Zhui knew exactly what she needed to do. 118 kilos would seal the deal. And in a rather heart-and-mouth type moment, she missed the clean on her opening attempt. She missed the squat jerk on her second attempt, and then on this third attempt, the final lift, well below her personal best, she was able to make 118 kilos, which gave her the kilo lead over Vietnam. Gold to China, silver Vietnam, bronze Indonesia. The men's 81 kilo category was highly anticipated and brought within it, I guess, a certain amount of excitement that we weren't quite ready for. We knew there were some big hitters here. Liu Lin, who was making his international debut, had been a world record holder unofficially within Chinese national competitions. But we also had athletes who were very consistent at a high level. Toshdemirov from Uzbekistan and the world champion from the 73 kilo category, Rahmat Owen Abdullah. Another interesting thing about this category was that there were several athletes who hadn't actually ever competed at an international event before. We also noticed towards the end of the clean and jerk portion that of the 7 weightlifters, 4 of them were either power or squat jerkers, with only 3 split jerkers. And potentially for one of the first times in competition, there were more made attempts by athletes who squat jerked than split jerked. There's Liu Lin, who we knew had snatched 180 kilos in training within the last year or so at Chinese national competitions and in training halls. He came out, he made 165 kilos. He ended up missing 170 kilos behind. The world record in this category is held by his teammate Li Dayin at 175 kilos. Opening up after taking the silver medal in the snatch was Toshdemirov. He made 154 in the snatch and opened up at 183 kilos in the clean and jerk, which for him is more than light enough to just power jerk. Then the Kazakh lifter Reynat, who had snatched 146 kilos, he also came out for his second attempt here at 187 kilos. He went for 191 kilos to move up into a position that would, he hoped at one point, might give him a bronze medal, but unfortunately he wasn't able to make it. We saw an incredible fight here also by Ogabek, the other athlete from Uzbekistan, who has this incredibly strange overhead position, bent arms internally rotated. He actually lifted tremendously well. He went 6 for 6, the only athlete to do it, 145, 189. Toshdemirov then took huge attempts in the clean and jerk, able to make this 192 kilo clean squat jerk. But then it was Rahmat Owen Abdullah who came out of nowhere. Bear in mind, Liu Lin had already finished at this point, and he took huge jumps, 181, 191, 198, which gave him the gold medal in the clean and jerk, the silver medal in the total, having only weighed 75 kilos leading into this competition. The women's 64 kilo category was the first session where, before the competition had even begun, it felt as though commentating we already knew who was going to win, and the battle essentially lay for the other medals. Pham Thi Hong from Vietnam was the strongest lifter there. We knew that she would open probably after everybody else, and so we ended up being able to see what turned out to be an incredibly exciting battle for the silver and bronze. There were 3 athletes who were going to place between 2nd and 4th, and they ended up putting a show. That 91 kilo lift there was the silver medal in the snatch for Thailand, Tipwara. Behind her by 2 kilos was Sarah at 89 kilos from Indonesia, and then a kilo behind her, Wei Jia at 88 kilos. Those are the 3 who were in the hunt for the silver and bronze. But this 100 kilo clean and jerk by Pham Thi Hong was just way too much for anybody else. We knew that she could snatch over 100 kilos. She opened up at 92 kilos, went to 96, then up to 100 kilos for a 9 kilo lead above that silver medal snatch of 91 kilos by Tipwara from Thailand. Speaking of whom, here she is making a heroic second attempt at 110 kilos. That would put her at 201 kilos, moving ahead of the other 2 lifters. 111 kilos would go to Taipei's Wei Jia, who then hit 199 kilos, that bumped her a little bit below. And Sarah from Indonesia would bizarrely go for 112 kilos, which actually equaled the total of Tipwara from Thailand, which meant that she ended up getting the bronze. But the gold medal to Pham Thi Hong, this 117 kilo second attempt, absolutely destroyed the rest of the competition. 16 kilos ahead of Tipwara from Thailand, who took the silver medal. She ended up declining her third attempt. She didn't need it, she was way too far ahead, and she's got the World Championships in Colombia to prepare for, which only start in 5 weeks. The women's 71 kilo category was the first women's category where we saw multiple women attempting over 100 kilos in the snatch. Restu there from Indonesia with 92 kilos, which she actually missed on a second attempt, wasn't enough to get up anywhere really near the medals. The young Mongolian lifter Anujin lifted tremendously, 99 kilos on a second attempt before missing 102 on a third. But the battle for the snatch gold went between Gulnabat, who is a real seasoned professional from Turkmenistan. She began competing back in 2015. She's competed over 10 times internationally with this athlete, Huijia Yang from China, who actually is relatively inexperienced on the international scene. She competed back in 2017 at the Asian Youth and Junior Championships, but since then hasn't been out onto an international competition. She ended up going 3 for 3 in the snatch, 100, 103, 106, which moved her ahead of everyone else. Gulnabat in silver at 102, the bronze at 99 kilos to Anujin from Mongolia. In the clean and jerk, Gulnabat did essentially what she needed to do, 117 kilos for her. She did miss 120 kilos, but that would put her up at 219 kilos in the total, which she probably knew that the Chinese athlete would be able to beat, but she hoped that no one else would be able to get close. Anujin, who was just 3 kilos behind her in the snatch, ended up making 116 kilos in the clean and jerk, but the Indonesian athlete, who we can see looking incredibly happy there, made 118 kilos. That was enough to win her the bronze medal in the clean and jerk. Interestingly, the silver medal and bronze medalists in the clean and jerk didn't end up getting total medals. The silver at 120 kilos went to Restu, the other Indonesian athlete. But here we have Yang Huijia at 122 kilos on her opening attempt. She was incredibly slow in the pull, but explosive. That would give her the gold. The men's 89 kilo category, thinking back, turned out to be far more exciting and competitive than we'd imagined. The 89s is of course the new Olympic category, but within Asia, a lot of the top 81s and 96s hadn't yet migrated into that middle category. But as it turns out, we saw some incredible lifting in the snatch. 6 athletes were separated in the snatch between 160 kilos and 166 kilos. The athlete from Kazakhstan, Bekte, who we just saw there, made an incredible save. It was a bit of a duck walk at 162 kilos. He'd make 165 kilos, however, on his third attempt, which would give him the silver medal in the snatch. Interestingly, Zareh from Iran, one of 2 athletes there, also snatched 165 kilos, but he did it second, which meant that he would get the bronze medal. But from Kyrgyzstan, it was Moldodasov who went 3 for 3, 161, 164, 166, a gold medal in the snatch, celebrating with his father, who also used to compete for Kyrgyzstan as a 75 and then later 77 kilo athlete back in the 90s and early 2000s. He then came back out and managed to make 195 kilos, a personal record for him internationally. We saw him do 190 kilos in training, so that was a big lift for him. That earned him the silver medal in the total. Masoud Chatrey from Iran, someone I've known for a long time, who hasn't competed internationally for around 3 years, came back out to this competition, again hit a personal record in the clean and jerk, having only made one snatch at 162. He made that 196, which bumped him all the way up to the bronze medal position in the total. But it was Bekte from Kazakhstan who had the best day of all of them. 6 for 6, 165 in the snatch, and that 197 kilo clean and jerk gave him the gold. The women's 76 kilo category again brought with it an incredible battle for the silver and bronze, but really, once again, we knew who the gold medal was going to be going to. If you've been watching Weightlifting House for the last couple of months, you'll know that Peng Kui-ting from China was going to be the athlete who would not only be probably out in the lead, but potentially also going for some world record attempts. We know that she can snatch over 120 kilos. She's done it in the lighter 71 kilo category, and then of course in the 76s. But before we got there, we saw some great lifting from other weightlifters. We saw Darkajav from Mongolia make 98 kilos. That gave her the silver medal in the snatch. The bronze before that had gone to Are Nalibakova from Kazakhstan at 97 kilos. But it was Peng Kui-ting who came out with 115 kilos. She had one thing in mind: 115, 120, 125 at the world record. But 2 times at 120 kilos, she was unable to make the bar actually land above her head. She missed it both times, but she still had a 17 kilo lead going into the clean and jerks. In the clean and jerks, she opened up light at 116 kilos, went to 124 kilos on a second attempt to just further that lead. The battle for silver really lay between Thailand and Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan jumped to 124 kilos, which gave her a 221 kilo total. Bizarrely, we then saw Duankamon from Thailand do 125 kilos. If she'd gone for 126, she would have moved into the silver medal position above Kazakhstan, but instead, she just equaled it. And so Peng Kui-ting came out for a final attempt, 128 kilos, a very tough clean. It looked multiple times like she was going to drop the bar, but instead she went for it. She power jerked the weight overhead. 243 kilos was by far the biggest total, 22 over Nalibakova from Kazakhstan, who took the silver, and Duankamon from Thailand, who took the bronze. The men's 96 kilo class was full of heavy hitters. The 2 Kazakh lifters, Nargisa Adilatuli and Artyom Andropov, Chempo Zhen from Taipei, and of course the new Bahraini athlete, Lesman Paredes, the world champion, the world record holder from 2021. Nargisa, the snatch specialist of the 2 Kazakhs, made 172 kilos. He was actually called for a press out at 176 kilos, which seemed incredibly harsh, but he ended up taking the bronze medal in the snatch. We then saw 177 kilos, a new personal record for Chempo Zhen. He missed 172 on his opener, made it on his second and jumped to 177. But it was Lesman Paredes, the world record holder, who put on a real show of virtuosity. Despite having undergone surgery earlier in the year, he opened ahead of anyone else, 178 kilos before jumping to 182 kilos, 400 pounds on his second attempt. He would pass on his third attempt. But what about Artyom Andropov, the clean and jerk specialist? He only made 158 kilos in the snatch, so he'd have to make huge clean and jerks to get anywhere if he wanted to make some kind of medal in the total. Nargisa Adilatuli, his teammate, made 204 kilos for a 376 kilo total. Certainly his teammate Andropov would be eyeing that up from way behind in the snatch, but knowing he has the bigger clean and jerk. A personal record in the clean and jerk there for Chempo Zhen of Taipei at 206 kilos put him up into the lead, 383 kilos in the total. But of course we knew that Lesman still had to come out, as did Artyom Andropov. Andropov hit the very comfortable 210 on his opening attempt. He then sat back and waited. That 210 wasn't yet enough for any kind of medal. Lesman Paredes opened at 205, jumped to 210, and then went for a personal record at 215 kilos. 2 kilos more than he'd made at the World Championships about 9 months prior. And that gave Lesman 5 made lifts out of 5 made attempts. But Artyom Andropov then made a jump to 219 kilos, which gave him the gold medal in the clean and jerk, but not the total. But it did overtake his teammate Adilatuli for the bronze in the total. The women's 81 kilo category brought with it some exciting lifting. That 94 kilo save from Rustamova of Turkmenistan, and then more incredible saves from Nakajima Motoka from Japan. She ended up actually going up to 100 kilos, which she would make. We'll see that very shortly. 100 kilos also for the strongest athlete in the pack, Hosseini from Iran. She went 3 for 3, 97, 100, 102. That 102 would be the gold medal in the snatch. The silver, as I mentioned here, to Nakajima at 100 kilos. A few kilos under her personal best, but a solid lift for her. She was the only athlete on the women's side from Team Japan at these competitions. Adashabaeva from Uzbekistan took the bronze medal at 97 kilos. Nakajima then gave us a bit of a scare after missing her 119 kilo opener after a relatively tough clean. She ended up pressing it out. She did come back out on a second attempt and make it before hitting this 123 kilo third attempt. That was the bronze medal in the clean and jerk, but the silver medal in the total. From Kazakhstan, Omarova would then take 124 kilos. It wouldn't move her up into the silver medal for the total, but it did give her the silver medal in the clean and jerk, a kilo more than Nakajima. She would end up with the bronze medal in the total, the silver in the clean and jerk. But the final athlete, who went 3 for 3 in the snatch, Hosseini of Iran, was just far too strong. She opened up at 121 kilos, jumped to 125 kilos, which gave her the gold medal in the clean and jerk by a kilo over Omarova.